and then we'll turn it over to Maharaj to speak something for us. So Maharaj, Satsvarup Maharaj writes, 26 Second Avenue is a unique pilgrimage site among all temples, outreach centers, and country farms within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada arrived in the U.S. in September of 1965, and for almost an entire year, he received very little response, living as a guest in the home of Dr. Mishra in uptown Manhattan. Eventually, a student found him a rented storefront on the Lower East Side, and when he moved there, his first serious students started regularly attending his kirtans and lectures. In September of 1966, on the day of Janmashtami, Srila Prabhupada initiated his first American disciples. And soon after, working with a lawyer, he officially incorporated the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, as a tax-exempt religious corporation. The Swami was very accessible to his disciples. From the first day of his arrival in the U.S., Prabhupada continued wearing his saffron sannyas dress and rubber pointy shoes. He lectured in this very storefront in the evenings of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, he stayed in his apartment, sitting at a low desk and conversing informally, answering questions from the devotees crowded in the room. Srila Prabhupada loved the 1966 period. Even at the end of his life in 1977 in Vrindavan, he reminisced about the time at 26 Second Avenue. He recalled, quote, "Those were happy days," unquote. We were like a close family. All the devotees of ISKCON have a feeling of heartfelt gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for coming to 26 Second Avenue and starting the Krishna Consciousness movement. Devotees should make a point of visiting the first ISKCON temple and take part in the weekly programs that are going on there now. So we will now experience a kirtan. Again, Prabhupada led this kirtan, thank you, in 1966. And it was so early on that Prabhupada's students did not yet know the Panchatattva mantra. So Prabhupada will chant that himself 3 times, and then he'll go into the Maha Mantra where we can pick up call and response as usual. Let's try to really leave the distractions aside and make a special effort to focus in on what's happening here. Prabhupada led the kirtan in this small space in 1966. He still didn't know what was to become of this quote-unquote movement. And we're all here now because of days like this that we're just about to hear. So let's try to focus our minds on Prabhupada's transcendent voice.
Jagati Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jagati Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Jagati Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jagati Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhakta-vrinda Jagati Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurabhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
जय विश्वा परम सत्य ब्राजता जसुदर सतनाम भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, नामाचार्य शील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur Pramanandi.
Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Is the one for Prabhupada? Is that for Prabhupada?
Yes.
Okay.
And would you like to
Hare
please
Krishna.
go around him?
Hope we don't knock the candle over.
Okay.
Jai Prabhupada. You have to help me, I can't bend my back. It's a bit loose, I think I have to put it back. Yes, it's a lot of string there.
How's that?
So somehow or another, if we can get it like that, it will be better.
Okay.
Something like that. Hope that stays up. Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you.
I feel a bit uncomfortable. I feel like I'm higher than Prabhupada. What to do? What should I do?
It's okay.
Well,
Just so the audience can see you.
pardon?
Just so the devotees can see you.
They don't want to see me. They need to see Prabhupada. What to do? What is your good name, Prabhu?
Yadunath Das.
Yadunath Prabhu. And you are serving here in First Avenue and here also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of the team that runs the program, so sometimes I'll host, sometimes someone else will host.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I want to thank you for being here. For those of you just coming, Maharaj will speak until 7:30. And then there will be a live kirtan in the room, and followed by prasadam. Okay? So,
A live kirtan?
meaning not
Not
recorded.
anything recorded.
Meaning you're going to lead
Not on
Maharaj.
tape.
If you would do the
Not
honors.
a dead one. We're not a dead kirtan.
No, not a dead one. No.
You're going to be very alive.
So, okay.
That means you're going to lead the kirtan, Maharaj.
Don't know what it means. It's something live, at least we hope.
So a little bit about Maharaj. He was born in the UK, and in 1972 was initiated by Srila Prabhupada. He's held various positions in ISKCON and served Srila Prabhupada in places as diverse as the United Kingdom, Africa, Malaysia, Europe, the Philippines, and New Zealand. Maharaj is a much respected and exalted devotee in ISKCON. He was the main force behind the World Holy Name Initiative, as well as various other marvelous projects in ISKCON. He is currently a member of the Committee for Kirtan Standards.
This is a very old one, Yadunath. This is about 10, 15 years old. This completely out of date.
Is it really?
Yes. Kirtan Standards Committee doesn't exist. It hasn't existed for about 10 years.
But you started it.
No, I didn't start it. Exactly. I was asked to be the chairman in the early days.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for letting me know about this.
And the World Holy Name Week was inaugurated by Loknath Maharaj, but he asked me to assist him in kind of spearheading it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, well, I'm going to have to get updated information. I'll talk to you later.
I'm primarily trying to serve in Europe at the moment. I served in some of those countries in the years of ancient past.
Yes.
Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Philippines. Still, I go there. And I haven't gone to Africa for, oh goodness knows, 20 years or more. But I'm mostly in Europe and in very far distant place of UK, as you said just now, very far distant place, United Kingdom. We go there, we're going there tomorrow actually.
Tomorrow.
And yeah, we move around still a little bit.
Well, we're delighted that you came to the U.S., and we're delighted to have you here at 26 Second Avenue, the place where it all began. So please join me in welcoming Maharaj. And Maharaj, this is also old news, but I met you years and years ago, I think it was New Vrindavan, and I got your book on animals.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, which is a wonderful small book,
Simple,
but
simple.
mystical experiences with animals.
Wow,
Ever since
thank
he
you.
can never forget that book.
Pardon?
Ever since then, he can never forget that.
You can't forget it. Well, I hope it helps you remember Krishna. That's the most important thing. And somehow or another, whatever it takes to remember Krishna, which is what Prabhupada told us. What exactly do you want me to, like what thread do you want me to take? Anything?
Anything, we're all about focusing on Srila Prabhupada. You can go in whatever direction you'd like to.
As long as it's focused on Prabhupada.
Yeah, in one way or another.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'd like to ask some questions because I don't know where to begin in one sense.
Sure.
There's a very quick hand that's gone up here.
It's a quick draw, yeah.
Even if you put your hand up, I would not have seen it. He's so much in the front. He was covering everything. Janmastami Prabhu is here for a little while in New York, but we've spent much time together also. Please ask.
Maharaj, what touched you in the first place about Srila Prabhupada?
Om Jnana Timrandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Mayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Kinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachaline Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Astacharde Shatardine. Hare Krishna. So what touched me first about Srila Prabhupada? Well, hopefully there'll be quite a few questions, and maybe we don't want to fill up the whole space with discussing that particular point, because I came to this association a little in the, I don't know if you can say what wave it would have been, but it wasn't the first wave, put it like that. We've heard a little bit earlier about the first wave here in Second Avenue and consequent waves in San Francisco and other places, and then the wave came to the United Kingdom in '68, at which time I was, of course, totally unaware, as was everyone else. It always amazes me when we come to New York to think how Srila Prabhupada is sitting in this room. And, you know, although there were one or two or a handful of young men and one or two young ladies maybe who were showing interest more than just a fleeting visit, mainly in the personality of Srila Prabhupada, I'd say. I don't know how much philosophically speaking we were convinced, but most of the first wave have told us that their attraction was especially for personality of Srila Prabhupada's presence and everything about him. So we didn't get that when I came in the United Kingdom when the Doors first came, and then of course in '69 when Prabhupada came to the UK. He stayed there in the UK for some time. He arrived on September the 11th of all dates, 1969, and stayed in John Lennon's estate in Tittenhurst in '69 for about 2 months. And that's when he really started the ISKCON chapter in the UK. Really began. He initiated some disciples, and then of course they already acquired the rented property in Bury Place. So Prabhupada left John Lennon's estate and for some time was staying in a rented room in Baker Street, and then when the temple was ready he moved into the temple. And Bury Place was a small place. This room, although very different design, reminds me, especially when you were playing the kirtan, of Bury Place. So it was the room was smaller than this temple room. And this is bigger. I mean, every time I come, this room looks bigger. You've made it look bigger. It looks much bigger to me now than it used to. I've been here quite a lot of times, but I've never seen it look so big as this. I don't know. Some mystic powers you've got, I don't know what it is. House for the whole world.
Was that a whole building on Bury Place, or was it just...
Whole building. Yeah, rented building.
Okay, it was a rented building.
Yeah.
And that was where Shamsundar carved the deities of Lord Jagannath, and they had the three-tiered altar.
Yeah, well, the altar was very unique, extremely unique. Well, we haven't got that kind of diverting from the question a little bit, but just briefly, the altar was very unique because it was the story of Radha Krishna's manifesting there was you may can read it in Mukunda Maharaj's Miracle on Second Avenue and a few other books, Shamsundar maybe in his Rhino's book, I don't know. In different books you'll read that personal testimony of the arrival of Radha Londoneshwar the first large deities to be installed in this movement. In 1969, when Prabhupada was there, they installed them. And that was really a miracle. What is a miracle? Everything's a miracle, but it was a miracle by, you could say, normal standards for sure. But we're not going to go there. So the altar, Prabhupada installed the deities in December '69 on the altar in Bury Place. And the temple, he described it as looked like an upturned boat. It was kind of, the Shamsun was, he used these redwood from California, I think, different wood to kind of make this design like arches. It was really unique. Really like you were entering into another world. One of the factors which really attracted people was the uniqueness of the Krishna consciousness atmosphere. It wasn't just a philosophy, it was an atmosphere which included the mentality of the devotees. So you said, what did attract me to Prabhupada? It wasn't directly, we can say everything was entirely, solely and wholly by Prabhupada's mercy only that we have any chance of coming anywhere on the path of devotional service, at least in our particular situation. And it was mainly just the devotees. But even before that, my attraction was simply causeless mercy, you could say, really. I don't think there's any other qualification or words to describe it, but the external manifestation, the external factor was, I'm going to say, but the different things were happening in our lives which seemed to be working in that way. But the first initial contact was just through a Back to Godhead magazine. The Back to Godhead magazine captivated my heart like anything. And two of them, it was in 1971, about this time, 71, September 71. And that's really, I had no idea, to be honest, that there was a personality of Srila Prabhupada behind it. His article was there amongst 10 other articles. But it didn't stand out to me at that point of time. But such is you could say the humility. Prabhupada certainly didn't make it sound like I am, this is me, this is movement is mine. And I am the International Society for Me, Prabhupada Consciousness. Right from day one, I had this understanding that every single word, every single thing was directed towards Krishna. So I didn't have that kind of personal introduction that the devotees would have had here and in San Francisco, maybe in London in the early days, the first wave in London in '68, '69 when Prabhupada came, and maybe other times when he came in the other temples here and there. I didn't have that. I was already convinced. I was pretty convinced before I even came to the temple. It was kind of interesting how different devotees have, and that's been my situation. So in terms of my feelings or my relationship with Srila Prabhupada has not had that same personal, you definitely when you associate with Pradyumna Prabhu, is he still around here? Devotees like Pradyumna Prabhu had so much association with Prabhupada. Of course, he had his unique association, being a Sanskrit scholar and assisting Prabhupada primarily in the publications of his literatures and so on. Or when you talk to other devotees here in New York who had quite intimate association with Srila Prabhupada at different times, I had very limited in that regards. It was partially, I would say partially by my own nature and partially by Krishna's special arrangement. We all have different parts to play, I believe. Different ways and different relationships. But our relationship was always with service, serving the mission, serving the principle, always thinking how we can please Srila Prabhupada, which meant how to please Krishna. In the beginning I didn't know of anything. That's what grew with me. I didn't finish the altar. The altar was unique. The Radha Londoneshwar were on the altar, of course, marble altar donated by Mike Jagger of the Rolling Stones. And the Beatles, of course, George Harrison primarily, but others too. And a few other rock musicians in the UK, I can't remember the names, contributed to help make that first temple what it was. And the devotees had no money at all. And George Harrison was the guarantor for the building. Somehow or other they got it together. But a tremendous surrender of the devotees, Shamsundar particularly, building the deities, making Jagannath deities. I think they were carved actually before the temple because they had Rath Yatra in '69, before the temple was even open. It didn't even have a temple. You know, so Jagannath came first, and that's quite often the case, that Rath Yatra is the first stage, you know. It happened in London. And then Jagannath was way up. Prabhupada installed the deities, Radha Krishna, and Jagannath was above, on a platform above. It's Radha Londoneshwara, a unique name Prabhupada gave. And then above, you've seen the pictures, maybe you've seen, quite above, right above, you know. You couldn't reach the deities, you had to go on a ladder. They were dressed once a week. We had to go up on a ladder and dress them. I think I did it once only. Up there on that platform, about 7 foot above ground level, something like that. Maybe 8 foot, I'm not sure. But up there. Anyway, there's a lot more to that temple and so on. Quite unique. So my first contact was really through those magazines. And the next thing which really, and I didn't know that this was all Srila Prabhupada, which it is. We may think this is a book and this is a temple and this is a devotee and whatever, but it's really all Srila Prabhupada's love and mercy coming through various ways. Just like we see everything around us is Krishna's energy. It may look what it looks like to us, but it's all Krishna's energy. So every facet of this movement is the love of Srila Prabhupada coming different ways to attract different souls. We'll be attracted to certain facets of that love and mercy. Everyone's individual. And what really appealed to me was the spirit of the devotees. You know, we hear a lot that their knowledge of the philosophy was not very extensive, and maybe not even be quite on the ball, but their enthusiasm and their spirit, which Prabhupada ignited, it was very contagious. I was talking today to Ram Roy about how much Srila Prabhupada in the beginning was infusing, or let's say, igniting the fire within all of us that we're here to save the world. Not that we're doing it, we're instruments. We're being voluntary instruments to a revolution, to help bring people back to their eternal knowledge, their constitutional nature. It's a revolution of consciousness. That's what Srila Prabhupada, that's what you felt. You're like, it really was. Immediately, when I first went to the temple, maybe a month after reading those magazines, because I wasn't living near a temple, and I found those magazines somewhere in England. And it was like going into another world. You really felt it. You felt when you went into the temple, maybe you still do, I don't know. We get familiarity tends to come in over a period of time. But to visit the temple or be in the temple was like being in the spiritual world. Everything about it was like, you know, automatic transformation of consciousness. And I didn't get the chance to have the direct association of Srila Prabhupada till he came to London in July '72. for the Rath Yatra in London, and other things too, because he initiated a whole group of us in 72. So, but it was first, I was living in the temple for like 4 months before Prabhupada came, more or less. And I've been practicing, trying to, for 5 months, 6 months before that, staying where I was living and trying to practice whatever I could of what I heard from the devotees who would visit the temple once a month, like that. I gradually realized that Srila Prabhupada was the life force, the life and soul of this movement. I didn't know that at first. I was attracted even without that kind of understanding. So maybe it's because of the way we are. My mood is to serve Prabhupada as best we can according to our own particular individual capacity. And he's okay, I don't know what more. Yes, Prabhu.
Krishna, I just was trying to unpack the statement you made in regards to causeless mercies.
Towards
Causeless mercy.
cause mercy, yeah.
If it's in relation to what attracted you or what kept you here.
Well, it causes mercy in one sense, attracts us in various ways. Everything's the mercy of the Lord in one sense, isn't it? And He provides things to our desire. What can we say? I wasn't awarely conscious that, of Krishna or Krishna consciousness. We may have heard of it in the course of our journeys as a young man, but not the Hare Krishna movement. I had no qualification as such. Usually when we say causeless mercy, we mean without any material cause. Materially speaking, there's a law of cause and effect, or what we call karma, which dictates, the various meetings we have, even the attractions we have for various objective sense gratifications of various kinds, are a result of karma in our past contacts, associations, and so on. They evolve. So when I say causeless mercy, it's outside of that normal course of events. However, within the course of our events, if you want to say that, as a young person, as a young man in his 20s, early 20s.
Early 20s.
Huh?
You were early 20s.
Early 20s, yeah. It was, the first time I came across the Hare Krishnas, when I wrote this magazine when I was 21 at that time. So 22 when I moved into the temple.
1972.
Yeah. And I'd say we were kind of exposed to indirectly. We heard the Hare Krishna mantra, for instance, without taking it seriously. It's only when we really understand and really serve the holy name. This is the, you may be chanting, you may be practicing yoga, you may be doing many things, but that causeless mercy in a sense, I suppose you could say it's, in one sense, some interest is already there, but still, I really had no qualifications to, say that, I met Prabhupada. It's like, I didn't, sometimes we look at it, I'm so great, I was a great personality when I was a youth, and, I was a yogi, and I was, and eventually, because I was so qualified, Prabhupada recognized me, and, you can go down that path a little bit sometimes, So, I don't think I'd like to sort of say that in one sense, because it's a false ego, but it's not true. We were, as youth, and of course those who are in Indian background, you may not understand that, but we were brought up in a culture which was vastly different to, what we would call a Vedic culture. It was extremely different. Sex was a daily affair as a youth in our lives. Daily, one way or another, whatever way it could be. Everyday parties, intoxications, eat whatever tasted good. Yeah, there was a little bit of a wave towards, vegetarianism. It wasn't black and white. Intoxications and sex were like the thing to do. Hardly let's say, preparatory stage for pure devotional service. We weren't exactly brought up in a holy family. So I wasn't, at least.
As the miracle, Srila
This is the
Prabhupada.
real miracle, you see. So, when you get onto the other side of it, despite all of that, whatever spirituality we had from some kind of watered down religious contact was there, but very little, comparatively, although I did become inclined towards reading the Bible around about the age of 20, and other literatures related to the principle of spirituality. But all middle and jumbled up, more or less impersonal concept, if anything, was the primary. So we didn't really have, it wasn't like we were brought up in a situation which was leading towards Krishna conscious pure devotion. That's for sure. Very materialistic background. Extremely materialistic. Prabhupada, because he came here to Lower East Side, East Village, East Side, New York, and right in some people say the pits, or the lowest, materially speaking. People were fortunate. It calls us mercy that Prabhupada came. Had no material reason. We weren't looking. I mean, looking for something, but it really was calls us mercy. I had no qualification. I was so qualified that, something like that. Some desire was there, some call was there for help.
So in 72, you say that you got initiated in 72, and Prabhupada had visited London then. That was when he installed Radha Londoneshwara?
No, he installed them in December 69.
December 69.
Yeah.
Okay, the story of the deities, the Krishna deity that he stole from that Indian gentleman?
Kind of, yeah.
Is that Radha Londoneshwara, or not Gokulananda?
No, Radhalandineshwar.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Now, the Gokulananda were installed by Prabhupada in 73 in Bhaktivedanta Manor. We didn't have Bhaktivedanta Manor in those days, even when I joined. Bhaktivedanta Manor came in May 73.
Right.
Yeah. Prabhupada actually visited. He came in the first, but the first time, of course, we had the chance for his direct association in 72. The next time, I don't think he came again in 72. I'm pretty sure he didn't, to London. The next time he came to London, I think, was May 73. We just acquired the manor. Well, actually acquired the manor just before that, but the devotees had moved in, maybe end of April 73 or something. I was in Bury Place. But I came over to the manor, and Prabhupada was coming, and they'd arranged for him to be flown directly from the airport, and it's the only time Prabhupada flew in a helicopter in his whole life. He was supposed to do it in Malaysia, actually. It didn't happen. He was supposed to be picked up and taken to Tilak in town in a helicopter, but that didn't happen, somehow or another. But in London it did, in 73, and they flew Prabhupada from Heathrow directly to the manor in a helicopter. He just came for a couple of days just to check it out, Came back a couple of months later and stayed for a few months in the manor in 73. At least 2 months. He came 3 times that year to the manor. Came in May, then he came back again in July, stayed through till, I think, the beginning of September. And he came back again in November. He was supposed to go to Africa, Kenya, but they refused to allow him in. So he flew to London 4 days.
And you met him each time, or
Not the third time, but the first. When he came from Nairobi, when he was refused entry, I was. That's another unique thing. Which.
Did you say he was refused entry to Kenya, Nairobi?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, 73. He came later, but in 73 he was refused. So it was unique because we really, I honestly must say, I didn't feel. I was talking with Ram Roy today, and he was mentioning how, how Ram Roy Prabhu loves to talk about Prabhupada. He was talking about the early days of San Francisco when Prabhupada went to, when he had his heart attack. And
Stinson Beach.
Yeah, and he stayed in Stinson Beach on the west coast there. Then he left for India shortly after he came over this side. Then he left to India, and he was away for maybe 5-6 months or something. And the boys were writing how much they missed Prabhupada. The separation. I never had that feeling as much. Again, it's something to do with the way I came in. It's like. It wasn't so much dependent on that aspect of Srila Prabhupada's mercy.
It was more about service for you.
Pardon?
It was more about service for you.
Service and the mission, Mission. It wasn't, to me, dependent upon the personal presence, physically speaking. The presence is always there. And Prabhupada said, I never forgot my spiritual master for a moment. He himself said he didn't have much association with his spiritual master either. I mean, it's probably a little bit more than, little tiny bit, but it wasn't that much in terms of quantitative time. But it was absolute in terms of how he accepted his spiritual master as his life and soul, and focused on the instructions of his spiritual master. And that's how we were brought up, to serve the instructions as our life and soul. And that was our feeling. So Prabhupada was 3 months in England in 73. But honestly, I only saw him 4 times, maybe 5 at the most.
In 73?
73, yeah. I was in Bury Place, the other temple. I was completely satisfied. There was only 5 or 6 of us. Everyone else was at the manor with Prabhupada. And I was quite happy just to be there and do extra service morning to night. I felt Prabhupada was with us there in Bury Place. I didn't have to go to the manor. It was almost an austerity for me to go. I had to drive all the way out there, And there's so much service to do for the deities, cooking, cleaning, looking after guests, kirtan, everything. We just really felt like that. Prabhupada said, I'm also feeling, 67, I'm also feeling your separation, but you're chanting in San Francisco and I'm chanting here in Vrindavan. In this way, we're all together. We're all packed up together. We all felt like that Prabhupada, and still do, when we're a little bit off the mental plane, Srila Prabhupada is still just as present now as he was at any time. And, of course you're praying and doing everything you can to make that easy for us to understand that here in 2nd Avenue. And it should be like that in every temple. Every temple. Sometimes we forget the Acharya. We sort of get onto our own thing. But that mood that we're here for, this movement is really a manifestation of causeless mercy. It's a manifestation of the will of Srila Prabhupada. And should be in every case, if we want to actually have that association. Yes, Prabhupada. What's your name?
Meru.
Meru. Nice.
Thank you, Maharaj. You're amazing. The way you're telling the story is very devotional, very tranquil. Yeah. Well, that's what's amazing about disciples of Prabhupada, all of you guys, that is like you're still teaching and you're still spreading. Even I went to Satsvarupa Maharaj a couple of times, and even though he's a little ill or whatever, but he's still perseverance and showing how to be resilient, and he still writes letters to Prabhupada all these years later.
Yeah, he's one of those devotees. Of course, he lives by the instruction, and we know that the disciple lives forever with the spiritual master by following. But he's also one of those disciples who had a lot of personal interaction with Srila Prabhupada on a very day-to-day basis. You know, in the early days, we all know, we've read the Lilamrita. I'm sure everybody here has the Prabhupada Lilamrita, and many other books which devotees have compiled to help us to experience what it was like and, you know, what it means, the significance of Srila Prabhupada's presence. And he was a living part. I mean, he compiled that Lilamrita, of course, with the help of others, but primarily it's Satsvarupa Maharaj. He was right there in the middle, right from 66 onwards, more or less. You know? Very close.
And he still writes letters to him.
And he still writes to Prabhupada, because we would never write. I wrote maybe 5 letters to Prabhupada. Not one of them was posted. That was my choice. It wasn't that someone stopped them, but we didn't want to bother Prabhupada. After about, I don't know what year, 72 maybe, it was like known that Prabhupada, you know, by 72 the movement had grown reasonably. I don't know numbers, but there was a fair few temples and probably a few thousand disciples. I don't know. Probably 2,000, I don't know. Maybe 2,000 disciples by then, worldwide. And, you know, it was kind of known that, you know, devotees, we were brought up like that. You know, when Prabhupada came to London in 72, for instance, and it wasn't that, you know, we would sit in his room, Swamiji, of course by then he was Prabhupada, you know, Swamiji, and, you know, they were like real like children in the beginning, you know, like parents and child. Prabhupada was mother, father, everything to the devotees, you know. But by 72, it was like we had the GBC, we had the temple, you know, senior devotees. They've been in the movement at least 1 or 2 years and things like that.
They were senior.
Yeah, they were senior. They were like veterans in this movement. And you were kind of like little guy in the corner there. You just did what you were told, and, you know, we would just sit there and listen to Prabhupada give class. In fact, I didn't even hear many classes, to be honest. They would send me out to the market every 5 days a week to try to beg for boga in the morning between 5 and 8 every morning. I was not there. And when I was there, they would send me straight into the kitchen to cook the breakfast. I didn't care. I heard some classes, but not much. It's like, you know, what do the classes do? I mean, when we listen to Prabhupada, when you chant Hare Krishna, when you listen to lectures, what are they supposed to do to us? Is it just to memorize things and repeat it? What is it supposed to do to our heart? Purify it. And what's the effect of purifying the heart? What's that mean? Okay. What does it mean?
We develop love.
And what does what is that? You sit around, I love you. My heart is pure, I love you. What do you mean?
Do service.
Yeah, you want to please that person, don't you? You just want to serve them. Whatever they want. You do a work till you die for that, you know, you give your life for it. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That mood was there. We were willing to, you know, I mean, don't quote me on this, might get in trouble, but jump off the top of the Empire State Building if it pleased Prabhupada, you know. But, you know what I mean?
Please don't. We need you for many more years.
Huh?
I said, please don't.
Don't.
We need you for many more years to come.
I haven't got a very good head for heights anyway. I wouldn't. But I'm give it kind of like an example, you know. I mean, it was that sort of spirit. We didn't mind. We didn't beaten up, getting arrested, getting insulted, getting whatever. That was the spirit, because Prabhupada, you know, what an incredible, you know, Prabhupada gave everything. I mean, and you just felt like giving what we have nothing to give, but whatever it is, we just wanted to offer that to Prabhupada. Really, do as you wish with us. I can't say that that's sustained mood. has been with me throughout, but in the beginning it felt like that, you know. And whether it was directly for Prabhupada, but it was within the mission of Prabhupada. To me, the mission is also Prabhupada. I don't see it's Prabhupada and the mission, you know. It's inseparable. 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 So the whole effect of actually hearing is that we want to serve. What type of service? That's a detail. But we want to serve. We want, what is that? To assist Prabhupada in his mission. He didn't come to the West to get followers exactly. He's come to serve his spiritual master's wish. He just, whatever Krishna arranged, you could feel that dedication to the spiritual master's mission. What took me especially, I never saw that Prabhupada put himself in the center. But for me, and I can't speak for everyone, but it was always putting Krishna in the center. And I felt that that's what Prabhupada wanted us to do, to put Krishna in the center. I may be wrong, but that's what I understood from, that's how I feel, what Prabhupada wanted, not that we're, you know, they're inseparable in one sense, but it shouldn't be we're just putting Prabhupada in the center and forgetting Prabhupada's wish to put Krishna in the center. They go simultaneously. You know, that's just my feeling. And yeah, the temple was buzzing. It was buzzing. It was like alive. Heavy devotees. If you didn't like it, you didn't stay. There was no room for laziness at all. Not an inch. Not 1 inch of laziness was allowed. If you wanted to stay in the temple, you had to serve at least 18 hours a day. Minimum. There was no room for spacing out. Sleeping in the day was not allowed, practically. There was no way you could sleep. There was nowhere to sleep. Sleep on the road outside. You know, it was, you just accepted whatever mercy Krishna gave. And you just felt kind of like, you know, more dependent, I suppose. But it was a unique atmosphere. Devotees for Srila Prabhupada's mission. So it was a mission. And to us, Prabhupada meant the personality, but the mission which he'd established. Anything else?
I think we're just about at time.
Yeah, one last point.
Can I ask you, if you don't mind, so when did you last time meet Prabhupada? And well, I guess it's a big question that I want to ask. How did you start teaching?
You mean last time with Prabhupada?
Yeah, like 73 you met him, and then when is the following?
72.
Yeah.
And then 77. He came to London. He was planning to come to America. I mean, this is a story could go on for hours. But he was planning to come to America in 77. That was his, you know, from a material point of view, impossible idea. But he wanted to come to America. And it was clear, I mean, whatever the was say, when Prabhupada came to London, the idea was he got a visa for America. So he was planning to come to America through London. But he didn't. He went back to India after London. That was in August of 77. And he spoke pretty much all he spoke about in London, which was in private. He didn't give any public talk about this. In fact, he didn't give any public talk. Maybe he gave one on Janmashtami, but other days he gave a short talk now and again. But he didn't speak in public. Hold on, let's finish this. But he did speak in private in his rooms, and I drove him in the car from the airport to the manor, and he was speaking about it in the car also. His intention, which if you've listened to Abhiram Prabhu, who was Prabhupada's nurse, you will understand what I mean, that Prabhupada had only one regret, that's what he said to Abhiram, when he was in his last days, that he'd yet to fulfill this mission which he wanted of Varnashram. And he looked at that as being farms. He wanted to go to Gita Nagari farm and show how to establish. That's just the beginning point. He certainly talked about it a lot in London. in private. That's all basically the main thing he talked about. He just wanted to hear the Sankirtan scores every day. There was another thing when Prabhupada came in 77, we doubled our book distribution while he was there, while he was personally present. A complete difference now when the Guru comes, or whatever you call it, oftentimes that stops. Everyone hangs around, 10, 15 devotees cooking 2,000 preparations, of which he eats one. And you know, we eat the other 19,999 or whatever. But it wasn't like that when Prabhupada was here. We felt now Prabhupada's here, this means we have to serve more. His mission out there to what does Prabhupada come to the West for? He didn't come to the West for eating nicely and living in fancy buildings and having a lot of money and so on. He came here for one reason, to save human society from hell. For the spiritual master. We take it so much for granted. But we don't realize it, I mean, we may talk nicely on the surface, but under the surface people are talking all kinds of stuff. But as far as Prabhupada is concerned, it's all different, let's say, gateways to hell, practically speaking. So he came to give the greatest gift of pure devotional service, and to lift people up, to give no qualification. So that's what I got in the last trip. Prabhupada was, he so much loved his devotees for taking this on. And he said that. He said, I've come to reciprocate the love of my disciples in London. In the car he simply talked, I was embarrassed, he simply talked about the importance of cow protection and farms, of which I had no interest whatsoever at that point in time. I was completely absorbed in book distribution and Sankirtan. But he talked about that in the car, and he didn't, he was just asking for tomorrow. Krishna Maharaj was asking me for answers, and I didn't have any, practically. Very embarrassing. He wanted to know all about the cows and how the production and how things were going at the manor. And then we heard, obviously we heard, I didn't directly hear, but I heard from several devotees who said the same thing about his desire, to establish, or at least begin the process in a functional way of Varna Ashram, and starting in Gita Nagari. Yeah, that was 77. And many, many things I could say about 77. Just a few things. So that just stuck with me. The love which Prabhupada, he went in a normal person would be on his deathbed, but he came to London for that, to show reciprocation, love for his disciples who were pushing on this mission, and for that other practical, personal reason, to try to show how to establish. We still don't know. It's still a mystery for most devotees. Varnashram remains whatever you think it is. But it's a major thing. Time is short. Yes.
I get it that you've viewed Abhiram's video.
I've seen them.
I've
seen them all. Yeah. I've spoken with him also years ago.
Yeah.
That video was amazing. He brought many things out there I never heard before. But I did speak to or hear from him about the Varnashram before. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm sorry, I haven't got much to tell. I could have told a lot about little things, interactions with Prabhupada, but I didn't touch on
Maharaj,
it.
this was wonderful because
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
His Holiness Janananda Maharaj ki.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
I was going to say, so you're a Prabhupada disciple. You didn't have a lot of association with him.
More than most, by the way.
More than most?
Yeah, because many of Prabhupada's disciples never saw him.
Right.
Not at all.
That's a fact.
Right.
They never saw him.
You saw him 2-3 times in 73.
No, I saw him many times. In one sense, in 73, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and sometimes several times a year in India we also saw him there. So I had, one sense, this little distance, but sometimes close also.
Right. But so you're speaking to a room full of people who came after he left,
Yeah.
right? So just to hear how inspired you were and you remain, and how satisfied you were to be in the kitchen at Bury Place while everybody was at the manor with Prabhupada. It's
I
just
think-
very inspirational for us
If
to
there's
hear.
anything true which I've said tonight, that's one of the truths. I don't necessarily believe anything I've said, but that is, I think, I mean, you know, as far as I have no memory of it not being true anyway. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Put your hands on Bhagavad Gita. No.
I've distributed them all already. None left.
Thank you so much. Would you care to lead us in a brief kirtan, 5 to 10 minutes?
5, 10 minutes. It's standing up, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Or sitting down.
you can do as you
standing.
like, you know.
We've done quite a bit of standing and sitting kirtans. We've done both today, haven't we? A few hours. We'll stand up then. For a
Okay, do
few
you want mridanga, kartals, harmonium?
I won't take it. Just the microphone.
Just the
nothing
microphone.
else.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Maharaj.
All you need is love. Love is all you need.
Untangling.
Up for grabs.
That's Adi Purusha's the distribution Food for Life. He distributes.
I met a lady in the park this afternoon who met the devotees. She happened to be living next to the building in First Avenue, and Adi Purush, the first person, devotee, he was on the roof singing Hare Krishna on a guitar, and she was in the apartment next door. She was in Tompkins Square Park
He still
today.
sings him with a guitar.
And she said that's where she heard him chanting Hare Krishna. I think it was bonfire, no, some fireworks were going off. Oh, that's good. I need a balance here. My back's 90% better, but it's still a bit stiff.
Well, you hurt yourself?
Oh, no, not really. It's just that my back this last week has been not working.
Thank you. You're
But
amazing.
today it came back into action. Pretty good. This is an original record player.
It's original, guys?
Oh my God.
Where'd you get? Does this have some history? This record player, or is it just symbolic?
They had a turntable here in the 60s.
Yeah, they listened to the first record,
So this
Prabhupada's
is
Krishna
functional. We could play
Consciousness.
this record right now.
You can't go too far.
So yeah,
It still works. You
It
play
still
it.
works, and we play it.
But that wasn't one that was here in
No, it's not
66.
original.
It's the symbolic.
Original from the time, but not
Symbolic.
the one.
It definitely looks like one.
Symbolic. Symbolic.
The paintings they got original. This one's they
Yes.
found them.
Is the Panchatattva one is original or not?
Not this one. The one in the front window.
Front window is original. That's the original
And we're
Panchatattva.
working on getting the original one here. We know where it is.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So this one is, where is it? This one's original?
This one's original.
That one? Oh, that one.
This
That one's
one.
later.
This
That's a later
Agayani
painting.
painted this one.
A bit later, isn't it? That one's before that one.
I don't know if this one is actually
Yeah, it's
original.
a copy of it. At least it's a copy of the original. That's a very.
And this one is
first
also
two.
original.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, yeah. Hare Krishna. Original. Krishna consciousness is original. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine
Play the harmonium.
When we were listening to that kirtan Srila Prabhupada was leading earlier on, I couldn't hear a madunga. Did you hear
I
anything?
didn't hear either.
It's
Just
cartels.
cartels. Yeah.
Right.
So that was a really early one.
66.
They didn't even hear the tom-tom, you know. When Prabhupada went to the park, he had a tom-tom. Little tom-tom drum. Didn't
Drum
even
like
hear-
this one.
Yeah, like a little tom-tom.
That's a replica.
Yeah. So now they have the big jumbes and things, but there was not even a tom-tom in that kirtan. And as you say, they didn't know Panchatattva mantra, but there was no pranams because the pranams had not yet been introduced into our movement. That was really a kirtan, probably before initiations were there. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Sesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatare Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatare Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. There's no boiling water coming through the wall, the ceiling, is there? The floorboards. No more.
Not anymore.
Sometimes when Prabhupada was here, the person upstairs would pour water through the ceiling. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I remember in Bury Place, quite often people would throw bricks through the window. One time I was giving a talk, maybe 72 even, and a milk churn came through the window into the temple room. A milk churn. Swoop, smashed the window and the churn flew in. It was like that in those days. Prabhupada had to tolerate all these things. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Tatara Satishlesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kota Vaishnavrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Praise like a whole Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Dham ki Ganga Maya ki Yamuna Maya ki Bhakti Devi ki Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtan ki Go Premanandi. All glories to the Sambhu devotees. Glories to the Sambhu devotees. All glories to the Sambhu. All glories to Sri Guru and Grand. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Sri Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Nanda Maharaj ki jai.